Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Welcome to the show. It is Ringside Report. I am Dave Simon. Fred Garcia is here. AJ DeLesio is here.
Central
We are
Coast.
here with you every week talking MMA. You can check us out live on YouTube every Thursday night at 8 p.m. We break it down. You can watch us. You can talk to us on the chat. We answer your questions in the chat, on the comments. Go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net, youtube.com/ringsidereport, DOTNET. Subscribe, click the bell. If you're listening to us on TSN 690 or the podcast version at ringsidereport.net, you can watch this show on the YouTube channel. So if you want to see us, which
Everybody does.
yeah, sure, why not, right? You can watch us. It's a different experience watching the show. You know, I was watching the show recently, and I realized like it's different watching the show than listening to the show. Mainly because when you watch the show, you actually get to see Fred's opinions, because Fred has been very quiet the past few weeks. I don't know if you've noticed this.
Because Fred's in love. That's why.
No, it's because Fred has a bag of jelly beans, and he just, I think, I'm convinced Fred just comes on the show now to eat jelly beans and just hang out.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Because you've been very quiet the past few episodes, but you do see Fred's reactions and stuff on the video. Like, you react, you make faces, but you're not often on microphone, I noticed the past few episodes.
The sugar is definitely a problem. Like, we need to get rid of the sugar. Unless a company out there wants to sponsor us and they're a sugar company, I'll take the money and I'll take the candy.
Yeah, if Jelly Belly wants to sponsor us.
Yeah, exactly. But no, before that, I said to myself, you know, like, we got to stop talking over each other. So I'm trying to leave a little more space and all, you know, for everybody to have their opinion. Everybody has their time.
And the best part of it all is, for the last couple of weeks, Freddie has agreed with AJ a lot. That's true. Freddie, you know that. Let's go back.
I don't recall that. AJ?
Once in a while.
Okay.
Plus, we'll sing a Doors song.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens tonight on the show. We got a lot of MMA to get to. We're going to talk about Conor McGregor on the show tonight because Conor McGregor is in the news. A lot of people are talking about fighting Conor McGregor, and I want to talk about who is going to fight Conor next. Will it be Justin Gaethje? Will it be Dustin Poirier? Will it be Khabib Nurmagomedov? Will
Justin
it be
Trudeau? I don't know.
I don't know about that. Will it be AJ's choice, Floyd Mayweather? You know, there's a lot of options out there for Conor McGregor. So we're going to try and figure out who will fight McGregor next. Who will win the McGregor sweepstakes? Red Panty Night, as he calls it.
Is that what it's called?
Oh, you haven't heard that? It's a Conor catchphrase.
I heard it somewhere else.
Well, I think it still is. I think you still make a ton of money when you fight Conor McGregor. Justin Gaethje definitely put himself in a good position for fighting Conor McGregor, right? He beat Donald Cerrone this past Saturday night, UFC Vancouver. I want to get to that. I want to talk about Paulo Costa potentially fighting for the middleweight title. The UFC introducing a new championship, the BMF, the Baddest Mother Effer Championship. Nate Diaz and George Masvidal did a press conference. They were pretty respectful, so we'll get to that. And also George St. Pierre talking about Tony Ferguson and Khabib Nurmagomedov. So the latest on GSP. But let's start with Conor. Let's get right into it. Everybody loves some good Conor McGregor speculation, right? We all love to, you know, debate what's next for Mystic Mac. Like, I guess not a courtroom. I guess he's a free man at this point, right? He's
for now
not assaulted anyone that we know of recently. So we assume Conor McGregor will be fighting at some point, maybe this year, maybe next. McGregor put out December 14th as a potential date for a fight. He wants to fight in Dublin on December 14th. There was talk of McGregor having some sort of boxing match on December 14th in Dublin. I don't know, but the UFC is doing UFC 245 on December the 14th. They're not going to be in Dublin, Ireland. They're going to be at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada on December 14th. Is Conor talking about that? Is that where he wants to fight, that would be a pretty big card right now.
Or a big announcement, Dave.
The scheduled main event for that one is Amanda Nunes against Germaine de Randamie in the main event. It's all right, but I don't know if it's blockbuster for your big December card in Las Vegas. You've also got there was another fight.
Max Holloway.
Oh yeah, Max Holloway and Alexander Volkanovski is it official or just rumored?
Well, it's
at this
rumored,
point?
I think, for right now. But
And
hey,
Robbie Lawler, Santiago Ponzinibbio, also a pretty solid welterweight fight. And those are all good fights, but they're not a Conor McGregor fight. A Conor McGregor fight in December around Christmas time in Vegas, that moves the needle. That gets people talking.
becomes a mega card. If Conor McGregor goes on this card that has a lot of very fun matchups, it becomes a mega card for December, which would be great. Look, Conor McGregor probably, I believe that he wants to come back. He wants another payday. I'm just not convinced that he's ready to put in the hours in the gym to be at the top level. That's where I'm at. But hey, I believe it. I believe that Conor McGregor is going to be fighting again soon.
Now, I believe it as well. If he is fighting, who does he fight? I think that's the big question. If he is going to fight again soon, say he is going to fight on December the 14th, who do you throw up against Conor McGregor? I would put in Dustin Poirier. I think it makes the most sense. They're both coming off losses to Khabib Nurmagomedov. They fought before. Conor has defeated him. So after the long layoff for Conor, he can fight an opponent that he's familiar with and knows how to beat. It's a favorable matchup for McGregor, which I think is something you want to do if you're the UFC. That seems to be the best option. Justin Gaethje just won on the weekend. I think he's too dangerous for McGregor right now. Poirier coming off a loss and coming off a loss recently where he was beat up by Khabib for several rounds, I think makes sense for Conor. I think Dustin is maybe at a point where he's not his best, and I think that's what Conor would want, an opponent who's not at his optimal, so that he could go in there and get a favorable matchup. Not to say he could win, not to say it would be an easy fight against Dustin Poirier, but given the absence of Conor McGregor, given all the doubts, I mean, Fred's talking about these doubts. We have the doubts of Conor McGregor. You're seeing him punch people in pubs. You're seeing him not winning an MMA fight for several years at this point. You know, you start to wonder about Conor McGregor and all the outside activities if they've started to interfere in his fighting career and his fighting life. The last fight with Khabib was pretty ugly. Now, granted, every fight against Khabib is pretty ugly. Khabib is undefeated. He's a world champion. He might be the best fighter in the world today. Nevertheless, Conor hasn't fought since then. He doesn't seem like he's that excited or that pressed to get back on the horse.
Well, hold the horses there, Dave.
Where's Conor? Okay, that's
whoa.
really the main question is, he hasn't fought since October of last year. Where is this guy?
I'll tell you where he is. He's all over the place. And you're like, I don't know what you said before. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you didn't say Dustin was at his best?
Well, I'm saying Dustin right now, like having just lost in early September, fighting in December, he wouldn't have a lot of time to prepare for Conor. So I don't think you would have Dustin at his best. I think it would be a far more dangerous fight for McGregor if it were in February or March of 2020 when you give Dustin Poirier a full 8 weeks to heal and then prepare for a fight camp, if you get 2 months to prepare for Conor McGregor, it's not the best situation.
No. One thing with Dustin is that he's always prepared. He's a fighter that goes out there. He's kind of like Cowboy Cerrone. He's ready to fight.
Though. He
just fought, but it wasn't like a bloody fight.
You probably put Donald Cerrone against Conor McGregor right now.
It's not going to happen. But the thing is that I can.
But you would do it.
I would do it.
Well,
for sure.
It would make sense. I would say. Because look, Conor McGregor needs a rebound fight. Now
Donald got knocked out this past weekend.
Yeah, well,
when you're knocked out,
Dustin lost like 2 weeks ago. He
didn't get knocked unconscious though.
Yeah, I agree. Look,
Dustin didn't get his lights scrambled. Donald Cerrone got put out. He didn't know where he was. He was arguing the finish, and he was done on Saturday night, right?
Yeah. Like
Justin Gaethje finished him in the first round. That was a legit TKO in the main event of that UFC Vancouver card last Saturday.
But I'm just saying it it's a challenge that would make sense for Conor McGregor. Now, I think you broke it down perfectly. It's going to be Dustin Poirier. That's my prediction. It makes the most sense. I still think Cowboy Cerrone would make a little bit of sense because it's a fight that's winnable for Conor. Justin Gaethje, I think, is too dangerous. I think Justin Gaethje is able to bang with Conor standing up. He's able to absorb some good shots. Conor has some good power, but Gaethje's a pretty big guy still for the division. Has some good wrestling also. I don't think Gaethje would be a smart fight for Conor McGregor. So you broke it down perfectly. Dustin Poirier is probably the lucky winner of the red panty night.
That's right.
Woo-wee.
I don't know who's his wife, but don't disappoint him.
Oh my goodness. Now,
G-strings.
Oh my goodness. Fred, you took it to see. This is why I didn't even want to.
He took it too far.
What? I'm just talking about music, man.
So
G.
I think
house.
the main point about Justin Gaethje is that he is active. You know, he's more active than Conor McGregor. He has fought twice so far this year alone. You know, he has fought tough guys, and he has won fights. When's the last time McGregor won an MMA fight?
Look, it's been a while,
right?
but you know what?
I'll tell you when the last time it was. It was in 2016. November 2016. It's been nearly 3 years since he's won an MMA fight. And in the past 3 years, he's only had 2 of them. He's only had 2 MMA fights. The Floyd Mayweather boxing match may have made his life, but it has ruined his MMA career. I think that's pretty safe to say. That Floyd Mayweather boxing match has derailed a very promising MMA career from Conor McGregor, turned him into this circus act, has made him extremely rich, has probably made his family for generations very rich.
Very proper.
If Conor can, you know, keep his head on straight and keep the money together, right? Which we've seen people blow $100 million before.
Mike Tyson.
Right, exactly. MC Hammer, who knows, right? So
Vanilla Ice, we know.
So Conor McGregor is at this point now where, yeah, the Mayweather thing was very good for him personally, but as far as his MMA career, since the Mayweather fight, he's lost to Khabib. He's fought once.
Yeah, but
since
hold
the
on
Mayweather fight, in 3 years, he has fought one time, and it was against Khabib, and it was a loss last October of 2018.
Yeah, but Dave, again, hold those horses. Let's not forget. And this
Stop holding horses.
Listen, I'm gonna go on Conor's side right here.
Let the horses go, man.
Yeah, no, man, the horses are staying. Listen to this.
We're listening.
Conor's coming back soon, very soon. And I'm gonna tell you something. And going back to the Khabib fight,
But
it
what
was
has
an
he
exciting
been doing
fight.
for 3 years?
Well, he's been
What
proper 12
what big
and-
gym has he been
Well, he's
going
been at
to train
SBG.
at?
I think he's been at SBG. He's been training. You can see videos of him training. He's doing like all kinds of stuff.
Where's he
Listen,
been?
We don't know. Conor's a mystery. He's like Santa Claus. We just don't know.
The only punches I've seen Conor McGregor throw in the past year
Was against Khabib.
were to an old man in a pub.
Yeah.
The only punch we've seen Conor throw since the Khabib fight was in a bar. That's not good.
Hey, look,
Conor McGregor right now
he
has the
insulted
same
him.
type of fighting record as BJ Penn. That's not good.
Not really. Not really. Dave.
No,
Let's
no.
not get that harsh.
Well,
Whoa.
Conor and BJ are both fighting people in
I'm
bars.
telling you-
Conor
Wait.
and BJ are both disgraced
Wait.
former UFC lightweight champions.
And I'm saying the guy that almost knocked out BJ probably gives a hard time to Conor right
yeah,
now.
that guy's smoking.
Like, I mean, that guy's much better
Yeah,
than
whoa,
the
whoa.
old man that
But wait,
Conor went
let's
to.
not forget. Let's not diss BJ because that was only the first part of the video. When BJ finally came back to his senses and decided that he was going to defend himself, that guy was smoked. So there's a video
You know
where
what?
you see
After-
BJ. BJ's a tough guy, man.
Okay, AJ. After what we've seen recently from BJ Penn, I feel comfortable dissing BJ a little bit, just a little bit.
Oh,
okay,
man.
and I feel comfortable, making some mean statements towards Conor McGregor too, because he's earned it. He's done a lot of silly stuff over the past couple of years, over the past 3 or 4 years, and he's really turned himself into this kind of wild
Punchline.
character. Yeah, and he's a joke at this point. He's not winning
No.
fights. People aren't taking him as seriously as they once were, and he needs to get back in the octagon as soon as possible and change people's minds. He needs to
what was
refresh
Gaethje saying about him?
Gaethje said he's retired. Like, Gaethje fought Donald Cerrone on Saturday night.
Yeah.
Gaethje, hold on, he fought Donald Cerrone on Saturday night, and he was asked, Justin Gaethje, what do you want next? Because right now, Gaethje is either the number one contender at lightweight, or he could fight Conor McGregor. So Gaethje's options were call out the winner of Tony Ferguson, Khabib Nurmagomedov, or call out Conor McGregor. He calls out the winner of Tony Ferguson and Khabib, and Daniel Cormier, who was interviewing him, he was doing the Joe Rogan role there. He said, hey, what about that Irish guy? And he's like, nah, McGregor, he's retired. Who cares about that guy?
You know what?
Right? He's dismissing him. He's not even making him part of the equation. However, Gaethje on Twitter did rethink his position and said something about wanting a fight with Conor McGregor in Dublin. Yeah, his manager probably got a hold of him
Cha-ching.
and said, hey, Justin, how about we don't wait for a fight that will be harder and will make us less money, and instead take the fight that will be easier and make us more money and is actually available to us, Justin. Like, somebody got a hold of Justin Gaethje and talked some sense into him. It's like, really, dude? If you have the option, I mean, I admire Justin Gaethje for saying, hey, man, give me Tony Ferguson or Khabib. I want the toughest fight. But, like, that's not going to make that much money. That's a very, very tough fight that you probably don't win. Conor McGregor, I think, is an easier fight for Justin Gaethje, and it makes way more money. So him dismissing Conor.
And you're dismissing Justin Gaethje pretty quick here.
Well, I'm saying that he probably loses to Khabib because, like, who doesn't lose to Khabib? And El Kukui, man, come on. I think it would be a very good fight with Ferguson, but I would pick Ferguson in that fight.
Look,
I'm just saying.
I'm
just
right.
saying.
Look,
I feel that Gaethje has the abilities to beat Khabib and beat Tony Ferguson. He's a monster. But I'm just saying, if I had to pick, I'd pick against him in those two fights, but I'd pick him to beat Conor McGregor.
I think you described it perfectly, but right now I don't know who Gaethje's going to get in this equation, because if Tony and Khabib are fighting, who knows when that happens? So Gaethje, if he gets the winner of that, we're talking several months down the road.
Yeah.
Now, the other one was Dustin Poirier against Conor, which I think could make sense. That's the fight that's probably going to happen, in my opinion, for Conor. So who's left for Gaethje after that?
Well, that's why I think it was a foolish move for Gaethje to dismiss Conor McGregor at that point when he's got the world watching.
I would love to see Gaethje McGregor, but I think that's a bad matchup for Conor.
Yeah, but think about it this way. Justin Gaethje has the entire world watching him, right? And he's asked if he wants to fight Conor McGregor by Daniel Cormier, who was probably fed that question by somebody from the UFC. So they're angling for something there, right? So he's asked point blank, do you want to fight Conor McGregor? And he's like, nah, whatever, I don't want that fight. We've seen what can happen if you're on a microphone calling out Conor McGregor. A lot of times you get him. Remember when Nate Diaz did it? Dos Anjos falls out. All of a sudden, Nate Diaz is in the news calling out McGregor, so he's McGregor's opponent, and the rest is history for Nate. It turned him into a superstar of MMA. So when you have the opportunity to become a superstar of MMA and fight Conor McGregor, do not dismiss that opportunity. And you look at him now. Now he's petitioning to fight Conor McGregor. He had the opportunity to make a name for himself in that post-fight speech, call out McGregor, say some mean things about him, and get the world talking. Instead, he's got to do it on his Twitter, where he has far fewer eyeballs, and now nobody cares about Justin Gaethje fighting Conor McGregor. People have moved on, and you have to lobby now to get people more interested in a Justin Gaethje Conor McGregor fight over a Dustin Poirier Conor McGregor fight, or Conor McGregor versus whoever. So Justin Gaethje, unfortunately, dismissing Conor McGregor, should have been a little bit wiser in that post-fight speech and said, hey, McGregor's actually the prize that I do want to go after, and I should be calling him out. And now he realizes that, McGregor is the prize. Gaethje in that moment felt he was the A-side, but he's not. Conor is always the A-side, and now he realizes that, but hey, it might be too late for Justin Gaethje. And I predicted that. I said on Twitter, I said before the fight, the winner of this fight needs to call out Conor McGregor, because the winner of this fight is the clear number one contender at 155 pounds, not named Tony Ferguson. And unfortunately for them, Tony Ferguson and Khabib Nurmagomedov have a date with destiny, and they are going to fight. So if you're going to fight for the title, you're not going to fight for that title for another year at least. So the winner of that fight needed to call out Conor McGregor. And if I'm sitting here watching the fight at the studios thinking, hey, the winner of this fight should really call out Conor McGregor, how come the manager of these fighters or these fighters themselves, they don't come to that conclusion as well, and they go out there on the microphone and call out Conor McGregor? I think that would have been a very wise move. I don't want to take anything away from Justin Gaethje. He had an incredible performance. It just frustrates me sometimes when I see these guys on the microphone after the fight when they have the whole world watching them. They just knock somebody out. Now's the time to make your business move. Now's the time to pick out your next guy and make some money. And he let it fall through his fingertips, and now he might not get it. Now it's between him and Dustin and him, and, Justin Gaethje, he had that opportunity to get McGregor. Like, he should have taken it on Saturday night, but he let it fall through his fingers.
See, you should be an agent right now.
I was going to say that.
We should follow this up with a commercial for you being a MMA fighter agent.
Yeah.
Bring people. But you're right. No, look.
If you're a fighter, call me if you want to know what your next move should be, who you should think about calling out. It's obvious to me a lot of these things.
When opportunity is there, don't miss your shot, because it might not come back. And Justin Gaethje, he's talented enough. He'll have other big fights. But yeah, you're right. that was an opportunity for him to get the biggest money fight of his career, and he just dismissed it. And probably, like you say, his agent brought him some sense.
That's it. And if he calls out Conor, and say he gets the fight, Conor's got a lot of bravado. Conor's got a lot of pride. If he takes the fight and Justin Gaethje beats Conor McGregor, well, that puts him on another echelon, and he's all of a sudden a superstar of MMA.
Fight I want to see.
But guys, the problem is,
that's the fight Fred wants,
but Dana
and
White
we probably won't get it.
But Dana White doesn't want to see that fight now.
Too dangerous.
It's too dangerous. So, you got to look at it from the business perspective.
But if Gaethje calls him out with an interesting promo, but what I'm saying is, if Gaethje would have called him out with an interesting promo after knocking out Donald Cerrone in the first round, maybe that fight makes enough money for the UFC to want to put Conor in a dangerous situation, because they know that Gaethje will be a player if he beats him. But
But look, Dana White right now needs to have a fight for Conor. That's not going to be a slider fight, but a named fight, a named fighter.
Dustin Poirier.
Dustin Poirier is the guy. That makes sense. They already have a history.
They both just fought Khabib.
Conor beat him in 2014. It's his first loss was against Conor. And the thing is that there's a history. And these two guys are starting to tweet out each other and Instagram each other and all this there's some blood starting to boil there. And then you got Ben Askren in the background, dissing Conor. So there is history that's going to happen. And these two guys, that's the fight to make. Because if Conor beats Dustin, Dustin is an awesome fighter. He's an amazing fighter. Yeah, he lost, to Khabib. But you know what? It's Dustin Poirier. He made his bones to get to where he was.
No, he's a legit win for Conor McGregor if he comes back and beats him. At the same time, Dustin Poirier, if you beat Conor McGregor, it's a legit win, and it helps you. I think it's the fight to make. I think it's the fight the UFC is going to make. Hopefully they can make it for UFC 245 on December the 14th. But if I were to bet, I would say they don't. I would say Conor fights in early 2020. I am skeptical that he fights this year.
Look, they need a big fight to end the 2019 year. They always do. They always tend to hold it back, and then we get surprised with a big fight name. And I think this is it. I think Conor is going to fight by the end of the year.
Conor holds the cards. If he wants to fight, they'll find a place for him.
Look,
Freddie, he's been asking for it.
UFC 245 is a very interesting fight card because you have two title fights already announced, right? A women's bantamweight title fight and a men's featherweight title fight. If Conor McGregor were on that card, it would be hard to put him in the main event because you very rarely, if ever, have non-title fights main event UFC pay-per-views over title fights.
Yeah,
I
but-
think there's only one
Conor McGregor.
fight to
Exactly.
make. I don't think it's the Conor McGregor fight. I think there's one fight to make that they might be making
What?
that might main event that one.
Bones Jones?
We're going to come back. We're going to talk about it. We got to take a short pause here on the radio side. It is Ringside Report. We're going to talk about Nate Diaz and George Masvidal. They have a big fight coming up. They did a press conference. And GSP talking about Tony Ferguson and Khabib. What does the great one have to say? We'll talk about that and more. Stay with us. Yeah.
Are we good?
Well, we're on a commercial break.
Commercial break.
Commercial break.
Commercial break.
Let's talk candy.
Okay.
Let's talk Justin
what's
Trudeau.
what's an overrated candy? I got one. Airheads. I bought
What?
a bag the other day of Airheads. And
Airheads. There's actual candy called
Was it
What are
Airheads.
airheads?
It's like, you know, those rectangular, sugary, very... Google it. Airheads.
How about
Candy.
Popeye cigarettes? Does anybody eat Popeye cigarettes anymore?
I mean, I did when I was
I don't
a
think
kid.
there's
Those are the
cigarettes
best.
anymore.
Nothing.
Oh, yeah. What are those?
Those are-
they're like... Oh, yeah. That doesn't look good.
Nah.
No good?
Nah, overrated.
Airheads, yeah.
I'll tell you what's overrated. Gummy bears.
Unless they want to
What?
sponsor
Gummy
us.
bears are overrated.
I love gummy bears.
You can use
Gummy
those
bears
things.
are good.
No, come on, guys.
How about
man.
gummy worms?
Super
Oh,
sour
disgusting.
ones.
Exactly. You if you want to go fishing next time, Fred, bring a gummy bear worm or whatever you want to call it. Disgusting. Not good, dude.
What do you want?
Popeye cigarettes.
What do you want to tell us
Get
about?
your kids on the Popeye cigarettes.
What do you want to tell us about the Prime Minister, AJ?
Well, Justin, you're screwed, buddy. Woo, my God.
3 times he was in blackface. 3 times.
What's up with that? I don't think
That's a lot of
that's
times.
very weird, actually. I saw the picture. I mean, the makeup looked really good. I'll be honest.
Which picture? There are 3 of them.
The one that he was
times?
the Arabian Knight. I think he was playing some character.
Look,
3 times, man.
look. Champion of hypocrisy, Justin Trudeau. Can't wait for you to lose, buddy.
Woo!
I just can't.
I'll tell you what. I had
Way
a
to be
great.
nice, man.
I had a great day waking up to that story this morning. It just made me laugh all day. Thanks, Justin.
That shit was crazy.
That shit is crazy. Let me
That
tell you,
shit
for all
was
our
crazy.
American fans
That shit was crazy.
that don't
I'm
understand
really
what's going
gesturing
on,
with this knife too. I'm just like, yeah, it's crazy.
That's, yep. What do they call it in Japanese when you kind of like, you know,
Fuck.
what's it called? With the katana. Somebody knows. Johnny.
Bukkake?
Bukaki. Boo. What the hell you call it?
Let's go back to the show.
No, let's go back to the Trudeau thing. Like, what's
We'll
gonna
do that
happen
after
now?
the show. We'll do a little post-show wrap-up. We'll talk about your favorite prime minister. I just can't believe our prime minister, like, over the past 24 hours, we find out that he's appeared in blackface 3 times. How come we didn't know this before?
Three
But wait,
strikes.
I got a better one. Like, maybe some other people knew, and I don't know. You ever got blackmail with that or whatever? Like, I got a lot of questions, Justin.
Listen, man.
Oh, you
I'm gonna-
mean like
Freddie,
if people knew?
Well, you don't think that's the type of information that, like, if you had on the prime minister, that could be leveraged? For
somebody made some
something?
good money out of it. That's for sure.
Like now it's
Damn.
out, but who knows?
but
like these
Freddie,
videos
I'm
have
gonna tell you
existed
something.
for 20 years.
You got to be like in the Italian politics when they got Berlusconi like on video. Like, did you see? Remember that whole thing,
the hooker?
Berlusconi and with the hookers and bed. What did he say? He goes, "Hey, what do you expect? I'm a man."
Hey.
You know,
hey.
like it's cool,
Yeah,
man.
that's different.
You know, I have her like chained like a dog and
That's
whipping
different.
her. You know, he didn't care, and he's still running. But here in Canada, unfortunately, Justin might have to. This is probably the hardest fight, other than the UFC right now, is winning this election.
How is he gonna look the next time he's critical of somebody about like when he's gonna play moral high ground on somebody? Like Justin, man.
But let's go on the other side of the fence and say like some people do stupid shit in their lives.
Sure.
Everybody does. I've done
Hey.
plenty, believe me. But you know what? I still do. But the thing is that like
That's why I say the hypocrisy is just as bad.
who was it? Wasn't it like Prince? Well, not Prince. What's his name there? The one Prince Andrew, not Prince Andrew.
Prince Harry, who
Prince Harry-
dressed up like a Nazi.
Yeah, well, that's pretty.
That's pretty dumb. Also,
That's pretty
dumb.
bad too.
Yeah, that's pretty
There-
bad.
It's just something about like white, privileged, kind of upper class people doing that type of racist dress up that doesn't feel good.
Maybe it's because
to me, it's the hypocrisy of him telling people how to live their lives, and then like you don't think Justin Trudeau remembered that he did this before? Of course he remembered. Like I remember the disguises I've put in my life.
It's just like weird.
For
it's
him
just
to
weird.
play like
I feel like he's dressing up a lot, and I feel like it doesn't stop at what he does in public. I don't know what's going on with this guy, but it just like. I get like this sense that he's involved in some weirdo shit,
I'm gonna tell
you ever see the movie JFK?
Yeah.
You know the scene with Tommy Lee Jones and Kevin Bacon, and they're all dressed up in the wigs and they're doing weirdo shit?
That's it.
It's like, what's going on there? What's really happening? This is creepy shit.
I
It's
guess
just creepy, man. It's creepy. Can we move on? Can we talk about MMA?
I think we should move on.
Let's go back to the MMA
we could
before
talk
we get
about
taken
boxing
off
and
YouTube.
Trudeau. He wanted to box.
Nah, let's not, man.
Get him
Like,
set up with Logan Paul.
that's a good fight. When he's done being prime minister, he'll need something to do so he can do some YouTube boxing matches against
They're the
YouTube
same weight.
stars.
Hopefully it's in less than 2 months.
Yeah, I don't know.
168, man.
All right,
They
let's
can
not
do it.
talk about that. All right, let's go back to the business at hand. Fuck.
Ringside Report banned.
Yeah, banned from the world.
Banned from Canada, at least.
Fuck.
But we're famous in Ireland.
Shut the fuck up. All right, welcome back. It is Ringside Report. I am Dave Simon. Fred Garcia is here. AJ DeLesio is here. We are here talking MMA with you each and every week. We talk about the UFC. We talk about Bellator. We talk about everything going on in the fantastic world of mixed martial arts. And one fantastic fight that is happening, that is coming up.
Logan Paul.
Yeah, well, that fight is coming up too, right? The Logan Paul KSI rematch fight that's happening at some point.
Part 2.
The two YouTube stars are boxing, and that seems to be the biggest fight in all of combat.
But
It's going to do more pay-per-views than any of these UFCs we're talking about.
no, but yet there's a UFC fighter that called him out. Dylan Dennis.
He's a Bellator fighter.
Oh, is he Bellator? Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Bellator. So I apologize. Regardless, he wants to fight like Logan Paul. I say
Yeah.
Freddie should fight
Why?
Logan Paul.
Fred wants to fight Logan Paul too.
It'd be fairer than Dylan Dennis. I mean, Dylan Dennis will kill Logan Paul.
Yeah, absolutely.
Come on. We could laugh at Dylan Dennis because of the whole gimmick that he plays with Conor, but he's still a legit fighter. He'll kill Logan Paul.
Yeah.
And
I think that fight is ridiculous. There's no reason for Dylan Dennis, a pro MMA fighter and a world-class jiu-jitsu fighter, to be fighting a YouTube guy.
I'm going to tell
Paul.
you why.
It's ridiculous.
I'm going to tell you why it's not ridiculous. Because the last time Logan Paul fought KSI that we were witness to, this guy had over 2 million paying subscribers to watch this fight on YouTube, and he had a sold-out arena of 22,000 plus. So someone, we can say all we want about Logan Paul, but the guy brought more money than most UFC fighters getting in a fight, which is absolutely not fair. So Dylan Dennis is not stupid. He'll probably get paid way, way more than he's getting out of Bellator just to call out a guy like Logan Paul. And you know what? You know who's laughing? Logan
I don't know.
Paul
I
laughed
think
all
it's
the
a
way to the bank.
ridiculous fight.
It is when
and
you look
I
at
gotta
it.
tell you, I'm more interested in the fight that's happening next. Wow, it's happening in like a couple of weeks, right? It's let's see, it's
September
next
28th.
Saturday. Yeah, September 28th. You want to talk about celebrity fights? The angry bagel guy, the bagel boss guy, Chris Morgan. You remember that guy
That
from
guy
YouTube?
is wild, man.
The bagel guy is boxing famous baseball player Lenny Dykstra.
Whoa, man, Lenny
That's
is nuts.
actually happening next Saturday.
Is this for real?
Can we do a watch along for that? Can we watch that live?
Let's do it.
Could that be like everything that we do? Like, this seems like the fight to watch. This seems like the fight of the month. It's Lenny Dykstra, former baseball player, taking on the bagel boss guy.
Dave, we got to get these guys on air, man. Let's get them on air.
It's $20 US for
Lenny-
this pay-per-view.
Lenny Dykstra seems to be a little crazy.
No,
these
Bagel
days.
Boss
he's
is way
very crazy.
Bagel Boss
You
is
should
way...
hear him. You should hear Lenny Dykstra on the Howard Stern show. He is out of his mind. But
But
he's
there's a
he's a former professional athlete, and the bagel boss guy is just an angry guy from a bagel store.
Actually, he's not called the Bagel
got
Guy.
Dykstra.
Or is he Bagel Guy or Bagel Boss?
They can't, because the store that he was in was called Bagel Boss.
Oh, is that it?
So
Okay.
they said he can't use the Bagel Boss Guy, so he has to be called the Angry Bagel Guy.
That sounds better, actually.
And right now, Lenny Dykstra is leading the votes to determine who will win. There's a poll out there.
Yeah, but how-
62% Lenny Dykstra, 38% Bagel Guy. I'm going to go with Nails Lenny Dykstra.
Wait. Is it a boxing fight or a...
It's a celebrity
MMA.
boxing.
Okay, celebrity boxing. But what's the height
And I think
advantage
it's like
here?
3 1-minute rounds, too. It's really nothing.
Yeah, but how tall is Lenny Dykstra?
Taller than the Bagel Boss Guy, because the Bagel Boss Guy is like
Very short.
4'11" or something.
not
was
fair,
why.
man.
That was one of the reasons why he was so angry.
It's not fair. That's
Probably
not a fair
not fair.
fight.
No, it's not a fair fight, but it's 3 1-minute rounds with headgear, so nothing really bad's gonna happen.
How old is Lenny?
Old. We're
what
not
is he?
breaking.
Like-
we're not
No, I'm
breaking
gonna
this
break it down.
like it's real.
No,
No,
because people are
No.
going to bet on this.
Can I talk about UFC 245 and the main
No,
event
Angry
that I think
Bagel
might
Guy.
happen?
Angry Bagel Guy is my pick. I'm going with him.
Well, this is a big fight, though. I think, look, it's happening next Saturday. So next week on the show, we'll give you a full breakdown, full preview, stats, height, reach advantage of the Angry Bagel Guy
Yes.
versus Lenny Dykstra celebrity boxing match. We're going to throw it on the official calendar. Forget UFC Denmark. It's Bagel Boss versus Nails next Saturday
That's
night.
awesome,
I
man.
mean, really, what would you rather watch? Jack Hermanson and Jared Cannonier in Denmark for the UFC, or the Bagel Guy and Lenny Dykstra? Right? Easy.
Dana White's not about big fights.
Yeah, Dana White doesn't want to make the fights that we want, right? Well, I don't think that's true. I mean, he did give us George Masvidal versus Nate Diaz for the BMF championship.
He did.
And they had their little press conference, and it was pretty cordial. Like, George and Nate are known for kind of trash talking and getting into their opponents' faces, but that's usually when they're facing opponents that they don't really respect. When it's guys that they do respect, like, I don't know if you guys remember when Nick Diaz fought BJ Penn, but it was very respectful because they respected BJ and they liked him
Or
up
Nick and
until
Anderson Silva also.
or Nick and Anderson Silva. It was very respectful up until the face-off at the weigh-in, because then it's like, okay, now it's serious, and now I gotta kind of put on the mean face to let you know that we're about to throw down. I think the Diaz brothers do that to psych themselves up more than anything. So I think Nate and George, a lot of people were expecting this wild press conference, and that's not really what we got. It was two guys that respect each other. Nate called out George Masvidal not because he disrespects him, but because he does respect him. He wants to fight him because he's so good. Nate says he wants to fight for the baddest mother effer championship, and the only other guy that is worthy of fighting for his BMF title is George Masvidal. So Nate,
Sounds like respect to
really
me.
paying George a great compliment in the challenge. It was very complimentary, and I think George felt complimented by the challenge, and it's very friendly. And that press conference the people were hyped about turned out to be just kind of
Flat.
nice. Two guys that people think are real mean and tough turned out to be just really nice, which
do we need
is not surprising. And it is kind of nice to see Nate and George not acting like thugs and kind of showing you that, no, they're just real martial artists. They're only acting like that when they're pushed to the limit by their disrespectful opponents.
Yeah, but the little friction sometimes, it helps to sell also. Like
Exactly.
I hope we get a little bit more in the lead off.
I don't know. I think
don't
if
think it's gonna
if
happen.
you're a real MMA fan, Nate Diaz, George Masvidal, and you know that they're gonna bring it. You know that their fights are always awesome. You saw Nate's last fight against Pettis, who looked incredible. George, of course, with that amazing knockout of Ben Askren. This fight is gonna be one of the greatest fights you ever see. This is gonna be an incredible fight. And I don't think you need a lot of trash talk. For me, I just want to see what happens when they get into the octagon on, November 2nd? It's
I'm still
just a
counting.
couple months away. It's pretty exciting
I'm
stuff.
still counting on them to give me a little more fire on the week of the event. they'll be closer to the fight, like you say. So at that point, they'll have their game face on and everything. But yeah, look, it's a great fight. I'm happy it happens. It's gonna sell a lot of pay-per-views. I have no doubt about it. It's gonna be a success. They were on ESPN. ESPN is promoting this fight already because they know it has potential. So it's gonna be a big on the numbers.
And it's Madison Square Garden, and that's not the only big fight on this card. You've got Kelvin Gastelum and Darren Till, Wonderboy Thompson and Vicente Luque, Derek Lewis against Blagoy Ivanov, Corey Anderson against Johnny Walker in a fight that I believe will be a #1 contender fight for the light heavyweight championship. So there are a lot of really good fights on this card. Andre Arlovsky.
That should have been a December card.
Arlovsky, I think, is going to be on this card too. So that one, Madison Square Garden, November. You got to do a big one. I think they have some good stuff for that December card, though. We talked about, Max Holloway against Alexander Volkanovski for the featherweight title, Amanda Nunes, Jermaine Durandamy for the featherweight or the women's bantamweight title. Jon Jones this week said that he's got a big fight coming up. He's got a big announcement,
so I was right.
And we're going to be really excited. I don't know what it's going to be, but hey, if Jon Jones is saying he's got a big fight coming up, there are very few options really out there for Jon Jones. What could it be? I'm hoping it's Stipe. December 14th, UFC 245, UFC Heavyweight Championship on the line. Stipe Miocic versus Jon Jones. Let's do it.
I don't think so.
Why not?
I think
DC's retired. I don't think DC's coming back.
I think that's what I'm thinking the fight is going to be.
I don't think...
If Jones is coming back and they're going to hype it up, it's because... they're going to finish it off.
No, DC's not fighting Jones right now. Come on.
Oh,
that's ridiculous. If DC comes back, it's to fight Stipe.
If DC's going to have one trilogy fight, it's going to be against Stipe Miocic, not against Jon Jones. He lost twice against Jon Jones. He's 1-1 with Stipe.
I guess questionable.
The second time that he lost and got knocked unconscious, it was technically a no contest after because Jon Jones tested positive for drugs that were not supposed to be in his system. However, most people believe he lost twice to Jon Jones. I don't really want to see him fight Jon Jones again. If DC is to come back, I'd like to see him fight Stipe. If DC's not coming back, I want to see Jon Jones fight Stipe.
I don't know about that, Dave. Honestly.
Look, right now, the only fight that makes sense for Daniel Cormier is Stipe. The Jon Jones history, he doesn't need it right now. Jon Jones... I think Jon Jones needs DC more than DC needs Jon Jones because right now, what are the compelling matchups for Jon Jones? Like, I don't have a lot of compelling matchups.
I think a Johnny Walker that if he wins in November...
he's already fighting... Yeah, well,
he's already fighting in November.
I know, but...
Jon Jones isn't going to wait around. If Jon Jones is to fight in December, you need to find something for him to do. Who would that be? You don't have an option. You don't have an answer.
Look, if
the only option you're giving me right now is no Stipe, no to the heavyweight champion of the world, which I don't really understand why you're saying that. Give me another option other than Stipe Miocic for Jon Jones. I don't think there is one, man. He's defeated everybody in the top 10. I'm looking at the top 10 right now. Thiago Santos, Anthony Smith, Alexander Gustafsson.
You say give another option for Jon Jones. I'll say give another option also for Stipe. What are the best matchups for Stipe out there? Jon Jones is a very interesting matchup for Stipe also.
This is a great fight. This is the fight to make. Right now, I think if you were to put somebody else against Stipe other than Jon Jones, it would be Francis Ngannou.
Exactly.
I think Ngannou's earned himself another title shot, but the last time they fought, it was so clearly Stipe's fight that I would much rather see Jon Jones get that crack.
And if Jon Jones stays at light heavyweight, right now it's another scrub. Like, he's not getting Johnny Walker right now, so
they probably give him Jan Blachowicz.
Don't need to see that.
I don't need to see that. Please don't do that. Are they going to do that? They're going to do that, aren't they? They just keep giving us these jabroni fights for Jon Jones. They're going to give us Jan Blachowicz. What's he done lately? He's won a fight. Oh, yeah, he knocked out Luke Rockhold, who hadn't fought in forever. Before that, he got knocked out by Thiago Santos. I mean, he's got a decent record in the UFC.
That's the type of challenge that's going to get Jon Jones back in trouble. I'm just saying, like. I mean, that's not a challenge to get Jon Jones into the gym.
No.
I don't want to say bad things about Jan Blachowicz or whatever.
Whatever.
Look, I'm going to tell you what. If the Johnny Walker fight doesn't happen in November, because anything's possible, if his opponent gets hurt or whatnot, we're going to see that fight happen in December with Jon Jones. Johnny Walker.
Yeah, but Johnny Walker has to fight Corey Anderson first, and Corey Anderson is very capable of beating Johnny Walker.
I don't think it's going to happen. But I'm just saying... If
you are not, I don't think you're that familiar with Corey Anderson.
No, I am, but you weren't very familiar with Johnny Walker when I used to talk about him in the days, and you just like cut me off, and it's like nothing. Johnny Walker was the name that I said from the beginning, and Johnny Walker is going to be the name.
I remember
Jones.
When you discovered Johnny Walker, I was talking to you about him and saying, "Look at this guy. His name is Johnny Walker. Isn't it a funny name?" Because he's like the liquor Johnny Walker. And then we watched the fight. We watched his fight because we talked about him on the show, and he won impressively by knockout, which is something that he does because he is impressive. And then you came back on the show and took credit like you always do when the credit is not yours to take. And you said, see, I told you guys Johnny Walker, which you did not. We just talked about his name. And since then, you've been like, oh, my guy, Johnny Walker, my guy, Johnny Walker. You just want to take credit for guys.
Hey, man, I took credit. Listen.
It's just what you do.
You're neglecting the fact that I mentioned them way before that. But that's okay, Dave. That's cool.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Like I said about Luke Rockhold.
Before he was
I said that way before. I said Luke Rockhold.
How's he doing?
He's not doing too well right now. It happens. It happens. He has to get like Tony Robbins to talk to him. I don't know. But he'll be back. We need a Rockhold. He brings in people.
Stop taking credit for Johnny Walker.
Johnny.
Can I take credit for Corey Anderson when he beats Johnny Walker in a 3-round decision, 30-27?
Well, he won't beat Johnny Walker.
You don't think he'll beat Johnny Walker?
No.
Okay.
2-1.
No. Like, that is just me, like, agreeing on a fight pick. I'm not with,
Fred,
like, you said a lot of crazy stuff tonight that I'm not with you at all.
What part?
I don't know everything.
I think he'll probably beat Johnny Walker. I'm going with Corey Anderson for that fight. That's a really good fight. That's a really big fight at light heavyweight, and the winner of that fight deserves a shot at Jon Jones. But unfortunately, scheduling wise, I think it just doesn't make sense for Jones.
They'll probably open the pay-per-view or something like that. Like I'm looking at the card right now. That's a good fight to open the pay-per-view with.
Corey Anderson's a really good wrestler.
Johnny's coming, Dave. Johnny's coming. Remember that.
Johnny's shoulder's still busted.
Is it?
Yeah.
You figure it'd be cured by now.
How do you
look at Anderson Silva with his leg?
How do you defend a takedown with one arm?
It's kind of hard, my friend.
It's kind of hard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Johnny's losing that fight, brother.
No.
Let's make a little wager.
Now?
I guess we could wait. It's in November, but
let's just wait.
And we're doing a big watch along for that, right? We're doing a party for that UFC 244.
That's gonna be awesome.
November 2nd. Will you be otherwise?
I'm gonna be okay.
Are you gonna be okay in November 2nd?
I'm gonna be okay. Yeah. Okay. I mean, there are big things happening in November. That's
I know
for
you're
sure.
a very busy man. Like, is your schedule gonna be clear for November 2nd, UFC 244?
Don't you have a birthday also?
Let me see.
It is your birthday coming up this weekend, AJ.
It is, but you already celebrated it last week.
We celebrated last week with your sweet Khabib hat. Did you show everybody your Khabib hat? Everybody in your life?
Everybody saw it. I was wearing it on the streets, man.
Wearing it on YouTube. You can watch our show from last week on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net to see AJ's sweet Khabib hat that he got.
Oh, by the way, I was at the Impact game on Saturday, and I wanted to wear it, but I got outruled to wear the Khabib hat.
Oh, why not?
At Saputo Stadium. I was going to do it. We should do that. Next time we get together.
Who overruled you to say you couldn't wear the Khabib hat?
I got overruled.
By who? Who could overrule the great Hollywood AJ?
By a 10-year-old child. He's
really?
Like, yeah, man.
He's like, I'm not going anywhere with AJ, you wearing that hat.
No, you can't wear that hat. You're going to embarrass me. I'm like, dude, it's cool, man. This is what it's cool. This is what like 2 Chainz wears.
Once you hit a certain age, which I won't say, you're not cool no more.
What are you talking about? I'm cool, man. The Khabib hat is cool.
Wow. AJ
Don't
just
believe that.
Embarrassing people left and right.
Listen, the next time we go to a TKO fight or whatever, I'm wearing the Khabib hat. and Ringside Report.
Oh, Jan Blachowicz.
It's all about the ratings.
Jan Blachowicz will not be fighting Jon Jones. He's going to be fighting Jacare Souza November 16th.
When? November 16th?
Oh, Jacare's moving up to light heavyweight. Jacare, one of the best
He's a big guy.
middleweights out there for a while.
That could be good for him.
He's going to be fighting November 16th against Jan Blachowicz. Well, that's
Freddie,
that's
that could be
good.
Yeah.
That's good because now Jan Blachowicz is out of the Jon Jones running. I don't think he was ever really in it. But, you're looking at the top 10. There's no one really out there for Jon Jones to fight. The obvious choice would be the winner of Corey Anderson and Johnny Walker. But Jones fought a couple of months ago. I think he's going to want to fight again before the end of the year. And the Stipe Miocic fight is way bigger than Johnny Walker or Corey Anderson. So let's get that going, UFC. I wouldn't be surprised if they announced that in the next few weeks.
Dave, everything you say, chances are it happens.
I'm pretty good.
Yeah, you are.
I predict a
must
lot of
admit.
these things that happen.
I mean, you don't predict as much as I do in the wins, but on those
Yeah.
things, you're good.
Okay.
Freddie?
So what are you predicting for Jon Jones?
Stipe, December.
It could
I
happen.
hope you're right.
It could
I think I will be. That's a super fight. We need to get that going for Jon Jones. GSP talked about a super fight. Tony Ferguson and Khabib Nurmagomedov. GSP saying this week that he believes that Tony Ferguson should rightfully fight Khabib next. So even GSP is conceding, like, look, this Khabib-Tony Ferguson fight needs to happen. GSP wants to fight Khabib Nurmagomedov, but he recognizes that it's unlikely at this point, and that unfinished business between Khabib and Ferguson has to happen first. However, there is the possibility that they can't figure out contractually how to get the deal done with Tony and Khabib. I hope they do. I hope they get it done. But if they can't, GSP is a pretty good backup option for Khabib Nurmagomedov. And I wouldn't mind seeing that. We talked about it at length on the show last week. I made the case for GSP being next for Khabib. I think, still, I'll reiterate for those that didn't check out the show last week, I think that Georges St-Pierre is a good fight for Khabib right now, because if he loses to GSP, he could still fight Tony Ferguson, so he can still make both those fights make money from GSP and Tony Ferguson. But if Khabib is to fight Tony Ferguson next and then lose to him, the GSP fight is less interesting and really not gonna happen. So I think it's far riskier to take the Ferguson fight first when you could lose the GSP fight. I would take the GSP fight first if I were Khabib, and then do the Ferguson fight next.
Well, we'll see, but I'm starting to believe George when he says he's retired. I think we might not see him back.
I think we're going to see him fight again. I'd be willing to bet the GSP will fight again. The guy is not done fighting. He seems like a guy who wants to fight. He just hasn't had the right fight present itself. It just hasn't come together. He's not like finished fighting, like he doesn't want to do it anymore, or he's no good at it, or he's been beaten up too much. I just think
he accepted retirement. Like when he announced it, he probably still had the itch, but right now, I think he accepted retirement.
Fred, he's still talking about fighting Khabib.
Yeah, he is, and he's training all the time.
He's doing interviews like every week. There's a new interview.
He's conceding the fight to Tony. He's saying, Tony should fight.
But he's still talking about it. He's still putting his name out there in the conversation with Khabib Nurmagomedov. Every time we talk about Khabib, GSP's name is mentioned because GSP is putting his name out there.
Yeah, but George is a respectable fighter and a person, so he knows that it's rightfully Ferguson's fight. So he's being cool about it. Because if George wanted to really fight Khabib, he'll get that fight. But that fight is going to happen at some point. If Khabib beats Ferguson, then it makes sense for George to step in. Win or lose, it's a legacy fight. But George knows that if he takes that fight, he's going to get hated. The people are going to get on him and be like, oh, there goes George again. He's surpassing. And then you're going to have all the fighters in the UFC calling it out as well. So it doesn't look good for George.
Who cares if people are mad at you, if certain guys, if certain people in the media of the UFC, if certain fighters are mad at you in the lead up for the fight? When it's all said and done, you make your money regardless. And if you beat Khabib Nurmagomedov, everybody bows down.
Yeah.
Because you're the greatest ever.
But George is like the Karate Kid, man. It's all about respect. And if he wanted to, he could. He doesn't need the money. George does not need the money. But he also knows that it takes a lot of hard work to get that shot for the title. He knows it. He's been there. And he knows that Ferguson is the rightful guy for that fight.
Oh, please. George didn't mind jumping in line when it was Michael Bisping time for the middleweight title. George wouldn't mind jumping in line for the lightweight championship right now. If the fight were given to George, he would definitely take it, and he should. I would want him to take it. You'd be foolish not to.
Look, he's saying it the way it is. I think it's going to happen. It's not going to happen in 2019, but in early spring 2020, we're going to see George come back.
Against who?
Well, it'll either be against Khabib, because if Khabib...
Or Tony Ferguson?
Or Tony Ferguson. But, George is coming back. If he's fighting Ferguson, he's coming back to get that belt.
What's your feel on the Tony Ferguson-Khabib Nurmagomedov fight?
It's going to be a tough fight. First of all, it's a curse fight. They always talk about it. It never happens. I'm even concerned that it's still going to happen.
But when it does happen, just give me a pick. Who do you want? Who do you think is going to win that fight? I think Tony Ferguson has the tools to do it.
He has the tools.
I liked what Dustin Poirier was doing when he was moving forward on Khabib and putting him on his back foot. Like when Khabib is moving backwards, it's harder for him to dictate the pace and push you and control the center of the octagon and push you against the fence. When Khabib is moving backwards and you're throwing punches and you're controlling the action, Khabib gets hit, And I feel like people are very afraid of that takedown. They're very afraid of coming into close quarters with Khabib, of Khabib grabbing a hold of them, that they don't want to press too hard because then Khabib might clinch him up. But I feel like Tony Ferguson isn't afraid of that clinch with Khabib, and he shouldn't really be because he's got the tools to deal with it. Now, how will he implement those tools? That's how the fight will play out, right? But I like what Tony Ferguson has. I like the tools that he has. I like the gas tank. I like the aggression. I like the wrestling ability. I like his takedown defense. I like his snap downs that he does, right? Snap down city, El Kukui, Tony Ferguson. I like a lot of the stuff he does. The chokes from all the angles, the superior darces that he possesses in his arsenal. Tony Ferguson has a lot of the tools that you need to beat Khabib Nurmagomedov, and I think he's got more tools than Khabib does, but of course Khabib's one tool, that wrestling ability, that ability to take you down in many different ways and control the pace of the fight.
Dave.
It's a very, very sharp weapon, right? But man, Tony Ferguson, I think he's gonna beat Khabib. I think he's got what it takes.
Whoa there, Dave. And honestly, I knew you were gonna get there and say that. Sorry, Freddie, I don't want to cut off, but there's one thing that you have to remember. Ferguson fighting Poirier with all his tools, for sure he'll beat Poirier. He fights Poirier, it's gonna be a battle. It's gonna be an awesome fight. It'll probably be fight of the night. But let's not forget, this is Khabib. And the one thing with MMA is that...
Oh, I forgot it was Khabib.
Yes, you forgot it was Khabib.
Oh, sorry.
So just to remind you again,
I was talking about a different fight.
You're talking about the real bear. He's fighting Khabib. And the one thing with Khabib is that you're right. He probably doesn't have all the tools like Tony Ferguson has. And the thing with MMA is that sometimes they might have a lot of tools, but they're not master of one discipline. And that's the problem. They have many tools. Khabib is a master of wrestling. And this is the thing, is that his gas tank, he keeps going and he gets stronger and stronger. And you know what? I love Ferguson. I think he's an awesome fighter. But to go up against Khabib is not 28-0 for no reason.
I disagree. I don't think Khabib gets stronger and stronger as the fight goes on. I think his opponents just get weaker and weaker. When you're on top of a guy and you're grinding on him and he's carrying your weight, you're not getting that tired. You're just, working.
But that's a mastery of your
working
art.
Position. Of course, he's a master of his art, but it's not like he's got this incredible gas tank where he gets stronger and stronger. He's just dominant, and the guys underneath him, their gas tank evaporates very quickly because, of the pace that he puts on you. It's not that Khabib is this great cardio machine like a Cain Velasquez or even a Tony Ferguson. He just puts this pace on you, and his style makes it so that you get tired way faster. Like, you may start at the same 100-point level, but Khabib, he gets down to 75, and you're at 20 because he's just sat on you and crushed you, you know?
I believe that Ferguson will be the guy to challenge Khabib, because last week you were saying Khabib is the king of the lightweights for some time. You know, even before that he got the title, you were saying he should have been considered the champ of that division.
Yeah.
But if you're looking, like, he defeated Conor McGregor, great win, but Conor McGregor was out of MMA for a while when he defeated him. And now he just defeated Dustin Poirier, which is a nice win. Look, Dustin Poirier is a very legit fighter, but I think we all agree the real number one contender was Tony Ferguson even there. So, you know, like, Tony Ferguson is the guy that everybody feels could challenge the champion. I'm not as confident as you. Like, I'm sort of leaning towards Khabib, but to me, it's close to a pick 'em fight. Like, I wouldn't be surprised either way. Like, right now, if I have to make my pick right now, I'm gonna go with Khabib. I feel his wrestling could cause a lot of problems, win rounds, which could be important if it goes to decision. But I
think Ferguson's going to knock him out. I think Ferguson's going to put the pressure on him, have him backpedaling, and keep him backpedaling. Ferguson's pressure is so intense. Tony Ferguson never gives you a moment to breathe. He's very similar to Khabib, except he does it to you with all styles of MMA. Khabib does it to you with his wrestling, with his grappling. Tony Ferguson just puts it on you with everything. You know, elbows, knees, punches, kicks, you know, takedowns, takedown defense, choke attempts. Like, this guy is just constantly attacking you without giving you a second to think or breathe. And I think he's going to surprise Khabib. I think he's going to surprise him early in the fight.
I think it's going to be completely the opposite side there, Dave. I think it's...
I just hope it happens. I just hope it happens and it doesn't get canceled again.
That's it. I think the fight will happen. I'm really looking forward to it because we're going to have a lot of fun debates like this leading into the fight. My goodness. This is the fight to make. You know, Tony Ferguson and Khabib Nurmagomedov. It's the fight we've wanted to see for, 3-4 years now at least?
At least.
It's been the fight at 155 pounds for so long. Like, it's about time. It's about time. So hopefully the UFC can get this fight together. I don't know when. Like 2020? Something? Early 2020? March, maybe? February, March? Is that possible? Khabib just fought in September.
It could happen.
Seems
for
about
sure.
right? February, March? Let's get that going, please.
Yeah, it'll be a spring fight.
All I want for my birthday, Uncle Dana, is a Khabib Nurmagomedov Tony Ferguson fight. Like, if you told me you could put two fighters in the UFC together and have them fight tomorrow just to settle something, just to figure it out.
Tell you what.
It would be Tony and Khabib. Like, no build up, no nothing. Throw them in the octagon, shut the door, and let's see who the better man is. I want to see who is better, Tony or Khabib. And, you know, there's no real fight that I've been waiting for as long as this one in MMA. It's been that matchup, and you're trying to figure out who the number one guy in the world is. It's two guys that seem like they both could be the number one guy in the toughest division in all of MMA. It's such a big fight, and we need to see it. Just
I hope you're right.
Get it out there.
I hope you're right with your prediction of March, because Ramadan starts in April in 2020, which would put another month off for Khabib, because Khabib doesn't fight during Ramadan.
Yeah.
Which probably, like, if he's not fighting from April and May, that delays him all the way to July or even August to fight. So hopefully he fights again before March. That would be the best.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, yeah. Especially now knowing that Ramadan is in April 2020. We need to make sure Khabib gets into the octagon before then, because if he doesn't, that means we probably don't see him until next summer, which would be like a year pretty much between Khabib fights, which I don't want to see. I don't want to see Khabib fight just once a year.
Well, he pretty much fights once a year.
Every 6 months would be better.
No,
yeah, but do we really?
That's his history,
are we going to wait a year for Tony Ferguson and Khabib to fight now?
That's his history. He fights like once a year. So it wouldn't surprise me that we actually see this fight sometime in June, July of next year. That is a strong possibility.
And Justin Gaethje wanted to wait for the winner.
He's going to wait a long time.
He could be waiting 2 years.
Listen.
Right? Imagine that.
That's like Rashad Evans back in the day.
Exactly. Sometimes you wait so long and you lose your spot and then you never get it. You never get the title shot and it just disappears on you. So don't wait. Take the fight that's in front of you. And for you, Justin Gaethje, it's Conor McGregor. Take the fight. Take the money. If you can. If it's still available, I think Dustin Poirier is going to get that one.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
What?
So UFC in Mexico coming up this weekend. It'll be Yair Rodriguez taking on Jeremy Stephens in the main event. What's your feel on this one,
this
AJ?
Is gonna be a good one, man.
Well, Yair hasn't fought in a very long time. He hasn't fought in like 2 years and a half, I think.
Really?
His last fight was Frankie Edgar.
No. He fought. He knocked out the Korean Zombie last November.
One. Okay.
You missed a Yair Rodriguez fight.
Okay, so all right, he's a little more active.
It's been
than I thought,
almost a year.
He doesn't fight that much lately. It feels like.
No.
So I don't know. It's a good fight. I'll go with Jeremy Stephens. I think he's probably the underdog, if I have to guess. But I'll go with Jeremy Stephens.
Yeah. Well, he's fighting in his hometown, right? So that makes a huge difference.
Yair is at home in Mexico. Jeremy Stephens, no, he's a slight favorite, -115. Yair, -105, the underdog. Basically a pick-em fight.
Yeah,
I'd pick Jeremy Stephens for this one.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Who are you going with?
I'm going to go with Yair.
Jeremy Stephens has lost 2 straight, though, but to very good fighters, Jose Aldo and Zabit.
Yeah.
So I'm going with Stephens for the win.
Yeah, but the only thing is with Stephens is that he's an awesome fighter. He has amazing striking and whatnot. But once he starts going wild and he gets emotional, that's when he tends to lose it. So if that happens, which, it's a strong possibility, it's Yair's fight. But it could go either way. This is a hard one to pick, to be honest.
That's why it is a pick'em from the odds makers, AJ.
No, but
what analysis there from AJ,
but listen,
Hollywood AJ.
Saying, look, if he gets emotional, he's going to lose. And again, there should be favorite on Yair's side because he's fighting in his hometown.
Yeah, but he's not. So there it is, AJ.
Well, that's what the bookmakers say. I say the opposite.
AJ,
that's why I'm always right.
AJ the bookie. Also, we got Carla Esparza taking on Alexa Grasso on this card. That's a co-main event. Martin Bravo and Steve Peterson. I don't know a lot of these people on this card. Who are these guys? Angela Hill is fighting on this one, taking on Ariane Carnelosi. Ooh, yeah. Sergio Pettis fighting Tyson Nam. That should be a good one.
For the prelims.
Sajara Eubanks and Betch Correa on the prelims, too. That's a good fight.
Which is kind of funny.
Some decent fights on this card. But it's weird that some of these fights with
prelims.
people you've heard of are on the prelims, right?
Yeah, Correa Eubanks. That's surprising in itself.
Betch Correa and Sajara Eubanks is the second fight on the prelim card. You would think that would be on the main card.
Absolutely.
But it's not. So that's going down Saturday night. Mexico City, Yair Rodriguez and Jeremy Stephens. I want to wish AJ a big happy birthday, a big birthday for AJ this Sunday. So wish AJ a happy birthday at Dan E. Brook on his Twitter and Instagram, at Freddie MMA for Fred, and at Dave Simon MMA for me, for all the things, Twitter, Instagram, and all of that. RingsideReport.net is our website. You want to watch this show, you want to listen to the podcast of this show, you want to watch Wrestling Uncensored, go to our website, RingsideReport.net. All the info, all the videos are up on our website. You can also go to the YouTube channel and subscribe, like the video, leave a comment, click that bell when you do subscribe so you get the notifications every time we're on doing new shows for you. Dave and Johnny live every Friday afternoon at about 12:30. Johnny and I go live. We talk pro wrestling, we talk movies, we talk TV. Watch Dave and Johnny live. The only way to do that is by going to our YouTube channel and checking it out.
Dave, shout out to Johnny because he's fighting, I think, on Saturday, the 21st. So Johnny has a big fight.
And Sunday.
And Sunday as well?
Johnny North has 2 wrestling matches this weekend, and he's going to take back his British Commonwealth Heavyweight Championship from Mike Marston on Sunday.
Johnny, I want to be there, man.
Johnny North, taking on the Bone Collector, Mike Marston. Good for Johnny. He's just a title belt collector, and he's going to be collecting those title belts once again from Mike Marston on Sunday afternoon. For more info on how to watch Johnny North wrestle this weekend, go to his Twitter feed at North Genesis, at Genesis Johnny North on Instagram. He's not even on this show, but he still gets plugged because he's that cool.
Well, he's the great Johnny
guy.
North, man.
He is the man. Big Johnny, I know you're watching. I know you're listening. We love you, Big Johnny. And good luck in your matches against the Blood Hunter on Saturday and then Mike Marston on Sunday. For more info on how to watch Johnny North, check him out once again at North Genesis. And that's it. We are overtime. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Thank you for watching. For AJ and Freddie, I am Dave. And this has been Ringside. Everybody now.
Report.